Okay, here's the things you're going to need. You're going to need a 440 set screw. These are stainless. It's size 40 and it's 40 threads per inch is what the number means. These are 1/8 inch long, and I got them on eBay from Diablo Tuning. You're also going to need a 440 tap and a holder if you don't have one of those already. And then of course your original detent and then your original spring. I've got a regular one and a trimmed one. I think it's trimmed anyways, we're going to find out. And a 0.05 inch hex head driver to drive these little tiny set screws. And some oil. You're supposed to use cutting oil, but you can use anything, just don't cut dry. Use vegetable oil if that's all you got in the kitchen. Anyways, the first step, let me swing this thing up a little bit so you guys can see what's going on here. Okay, there's my lower receiver with the hole for the rear takedown detent. Spring and detent, and it goes in that hole. And like I said, if you take the stock off, it usually pops out, so it disappears somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I just put a little oil on the tap, and some guy online said you can use your Dremel or something stupid like that. No, you can't. You have to do it like this. You have to do it really slowly, and as soon as you feel it start to cut, go about 3/4 of a turn, back it up half a turn, and do one turn, back it up. And the point here is to keep breaking the chips. You don't want one continuous chip because it'll bind. This is basic thread tapping. And just go in a little bit because the thing's only 1/8 of an inch long, and you're only going to go in until they're flush. Okay, and then I'm going to try one out and see how far it goes in. You don't want it too deep because you want it to bind in the hole as you're tightening it up, because there's nothing holding it in except for the spring, and you don't want the spring tension holding it. So thread it in. I could go another turn or two. Okay. Don't cross thread it. Get it back in those same threads. Sorry, my thumb's in the way. Okay, that's about a turn and a half. Let's see what happens. Perfect. It's just flush. And then it stops. Okay. Now the next step is put the detent, your original takedown detent, back in the hole so that the takedown, put the takedown pin back in the hole so that the detent has somewhere to rest against. And then just push that into the hole. And then take your full-length spring and stick it in the hole and see how much too long there is. As long as your pin's in the detent, wiggle the pin and slide it back and forth, and you'll feel the detent holding it. Figure out how much there is. This is about 3/16, almost 1/4 inch too much. So we're going to trim that off. Let me go get my dikes. Okay, I'm back with my cutters, and I bumped the camera, so I had to reset it. Sorry. Figure out how much too long it is, and then it should just be flush, and then just cut that little bit off. Okay. And then okay, now this is the tricky part, to be honest. I already dropped 2 of these things in my test video, so I'm going to reset the camera again one more time. So bear with me. Okay, the reason I set it this way is so that it's less likely to drop the set screw. See, if you're not doing it with the camera on, you might want to think about doing it. There's the spring. The detent's already in there. I'd think about maybe doing this at the kitchen table, somewhere nice and clean, somewhere other than the garage where if you drop it, it's gone forever. Because these things are really small, and if you do drop them, you probably won't locate it in the garage or in your shop. But at the kitchen table, anyways, you can see what I'm doing here. My hands are in the way. Just thread that set screw down into the threads you cut so that it's flush, and it binds that screw, the spring in place, so that your detent now has, the detent pin has the detent pushing on it. Okay? I don't like mine too tight, just tight enough they don't pop out on their own. Everybody has their own personal, how tight you want them, but that depends on how much spring you leave left. But if you cut the spring off flush with the pin in there, then when you screw it down, it puts about 1/8 of an inch of tension on it, which I think is just about enough. All right, just enough to hold it in place. Well, I hope you enjoy it.